This your boy Tam. So, it's been a lot going on this past week, so much to cover, and particularly with what happened with, of course, Big U being indicted, and also the Yellow Beezy thing. I'm gonna do a continuance on the Yellow Beezy thing, but at the end of the day, I wanted to particularly talk about hip hop informants. Just like they had the hip hop police, they have hip hop informants. And at the end of the day, you just got to keep it 100. Um, they exist and they're out in the open. And now you starting to see over the past 5 or 6 years what these dudes' overall plan was to take down a lot of these dudes that had ties to hip hop or these so-called what you would call gang members, wanting to be celebrities. You looking at the situation with Big U, and I just got to keep it a buck. I'm not judging Big U, but I think what led to his demise was him wanting to be a gangster gang member slash celebrity because they have they have a paper trail, they have a video and audio trail of some of the stuff that he was saying on camera. And this is why Al Gore and his people invented the internet for stuff like this. It isn't about, you have to understand when people make inventions, this isn't about what it could lead to in a year or two. It's about what it will lead to in the next 15 to 20 years. And this is why the internet was invented, because they knew eventually the internet would lead to people volunteering information about other people and then themselves. As far as the street culture go, I think it's safe to say that the street culture thing is dead. Now, people like me that lived by the code, I'm going to continue to live by the code. I was always taught if you did dirt, if you got caught, you kept your mouth shut. If you did a job together, you went on a mission, whatever you call it, if all four of y'all got rolled up, nobody said nothing. Nobody ever, because that's what you agreed upon. If you agreed to do some dirt, you all go down. And a lot of times, depending on the amount of evidence that they had, if you kept your mouth shut, in all likelihood, you could beat the case. But it was also agreed upon if one person went down and they kept their mouth shut, you take care of them while they, doing their bid, doing their time. And then when they get out, if you in a good position, you help them, you look out for them, you take care of them. But now people don't live by that because now this new generation, I ain't even gonna say this new generation, this older generation is sitting up here telling now. At the end of the day, I'm looking at what Suge Knight is doing. I'm not look, Suge Knight is dry snitching just like everybody else. You look at this situation with Whack 100. If anybody don't believe Whack 100 worked with the police, when there's mountains of evidence of him going on outlet to outlet, no matter whether they was black, white, or whatever, he was sitting up going on all these outlets, volunteering information, insinuating stuff, making predictions. And I'm going to tell you, he too fluent with how the law works, how indictments work, RICOs, all that kind of stuff. At times, he talks as if he's in law enforcement or a prosecutor. And I'm just keeping it a buck. I was like, wait a minute, this dude is just too fluent with this. Like he an expert on this stuff. Even if you on the opposite side, you gonna know how things work. But you ain't gonna be as fluent as he is on how indictments work, how the legal perspective works from basically the law enforcement. So I was just like, something ain't right about this dude. And he was always insinuating stuff, dropping hints. All them dudes work with the police. Same thing with Brick Baby. You started hearing about these things with him getting caught with weapons, Weapons that you know you ain't supposed to have in California. And if you a convicted felon, you ain't supposed to have no weapon, period. You sure ain't supposed to be traveling. So I started to put two and two together. And I was saying this for years, like, that Brick Baby dude, I don't know about that dude. He would be saying stuff. And then the thing is with the internet, look who these dudes would be talking to. Eventually, what's going to happen is they're going to call Adam 22 to take the stand eventually. And then that's when people going to really see who he is. Because basically the feds themselves said they built up a case looking at the stuff that was being said on the internet. You look at him, you look at the loose cannon dude, or should I say loose lips, because this dude was just volunteering information and talking about stuff you ain't got no business talking about on social media. These dudes were saying they were linked to possible bodies. They were linked to robberies. This dude was constantly dry snitching. They were linking people to, the demise of Nipsey Hussle. So I was just peeping this stuff, and I was just telling other people, hey, man, something ain't right about these dudes. And you have to understand, just because somebody get taken into custody, that doesn't mean that they're going to jail, because a lot of times they use that as a front too. You have to understand there's this thing with art imitating life and life imitating art. That stuff you saw on the Fast and Furious, where Brian O'Connor was basically trying to infiltrate what was going on with Toretto, but basically the dude caught him, and dude kept saying he's a cop and stuff. Well, how do cops and agents keep their cover? They'll say somebody else is doing something. Their objective is to infiltrate you pretty much at all cost. That's just real talk. So how do you get people to believe somebody is who they're insinuating they are? Well, you present stuff. You keep insinuating, oh, this dude's a rat, this dude's a snitch, this dude's an informant. So by you constantly pointing the finger at other people, that takes the spotlight off of you. And that's what you've been seeing with all these dudes, all these dudes like Whack 100, Break Baby, 600, all those dudes. All them dudes are suspect. They're all suspect. And the reason why I call them hip hop Huggy Bears, because if you remember the 70s show, Starsky and Hutch, I think it ran from 75 to 79. And it was funny. Huggy Bear was a popular character. Huggy Bear was a dude that, now they, when you thought about it, the TV series tried to dress it up, tried to make Huggy Bear a cool character because he dressed like a pimp and all that kind of stuff, or a player, or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, as you got older and you really started to figure out what an informant was, I was like, wait a minute. Now, Starsky and Hutch was a little bit before my time. A little bit before my time. I really didn't start getting into TV till like maybe the 80s and stuff. But then when you thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. Huggy Bears is a snitch. He's a rat. He's an informant. He worked with the police. And that's what we have now. We have dudes that pretend to be hip hop managers and all that kind of stuff, but then they constantly feeding the authorities information. Now, it's going to be very interesting if they call Wack to take the stand in Big U's trial. What is he going to say then? What is he going to say then? Is he going to say, oh, I haven't been work? Because I'm talking about, they got so many videos of Wack basically finger pointing, but he might not have to take the stand. But that other dude who say he used to be an enforcer, the dude who can't stop running his mouth, the loose cannon dude, good grief. I can make an archive right now of him just running his mouth. Just speaking on stuff he ain't got no business speaking on. But then again, I'm listening to Whack, where basically he tricked the loose cannon into talking about what allegedly happened with Nipsey Hussle like 30 minutes before, he was tragically killed. At the end of the day, some people are informants and then some people just snitch on themselves. At the end of the day, that dude, Loose Cannon, is like a 40-something-year-old man that was like desperate for attention and desperate for popularity, to where basically he was speaking on stuff he didn't have no business speaking on. But these are the same dudes that talk about Charleston White. Charleston White ain't no better too. Charleston White is a piece of shit. There ain't no such thing as living by the street code. It's so funny. Everybody been sitting up here like insinuating other rappers as snitches, but every time I look around, I'm listening to these, series of interviews with the Outer Dialogue and Suge Knight. Outer Dialogue is doing his job, but Suge Knight is just volunteering all this information, all this dry snitching, because basically Suge is trying to put a case on Dre. He's trying to put a case on Snoop, and we got to call it what it is. He's dry snitching. Anybody that say, hey, so-and-so tried to have me deleted. Oh, so-and-so is tied to this dude's murder. That's not dry snitching. Keep in mind, there's no statute of limitation on homicides. You could be rolled up at any given time if they can build a solid case or at least enough evidence to arrest you and bring you to trial. And that's all Suge Knight is doing. And now it then came to basically like a team. Like which snitch, which rat you support. Are you team Whack 100? Are you team Suge Knight? Are you team Loose Cannon? You team Brick Baby? I don't support none of them niggas, and I don't respect none of them niggas because they all been collaborating with law enforcement. And you have to understand, sometimes the FBI don't know who the Secret Service snitches is versus local police, ATF. They don't know until those dudes get taken into custody. They don't always collaborate until something happens. Then they say, okay, well, this dude is one of our CIs. Or he's working as an undercover paid informant. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Informants get paid. They was paying that despicable rat nigga, Bill O'Neal, the one who sold Fred Hampton out. So I'm just saying, the thing is, people get so infatuated with an individual person to where they want to overlook what they're doing. I'm not overlooking what Suge Knight is doing. Suge Knight is snitching. He's snitching. And now it's been proven that the feds listen to these videos. This is how they was able to build the case on Big U. I got to keep it 100 with Big U. Big U is on social media saying some stuff that he shouldn't have been saying. And then even when he went to turn himself in, he shouldn't have said nothing. I would not have made no video talking about I'm going to turn myself in. And then keep in mind, it's an archive. Big U is on social media talking about he making people check in and talking about if you shoot a video in this area, if you don't check in, we gonna check your equipment in. Then facial expressions after Nipsey Hussle. So like I said before, you have to keep it a buck. I'm not against Big U, but I'm just telling the truth. I'm going to say this once again. You can't be a gangster or a gangbanger and a celebrity at the same time. Either you have to cut complete ties with the streets or you have to stay in the streets. There's no in between. You know, most of these dudes are a character anyway that they create. Do y'all really think a syrup sipping, coke sniffing junkie like Lil Wayne is an actual blood? But no, what he's doing, he's like keeping the culture going by saying he's affiliated with the blood. And Lil Wayne can't even say what blood said put him on. And then I never saw a dude that waited till he was like 10 years in the game to start claiming blood. So that's what I'm trying to explain. But it's a lot of these dudes out there. Brick Baby got a long, I'm talking about he got a long rap sheet. And I ain't talking about no lyrics. I'm talking about getting caught with guns and all this stuff. And then, once again, he's on Adam 22 talking about he got this amount of work in the street, talking about I got more bodies than you got. Like, bro, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? So this just goes to show you. Like, I backed off the internet a minute ago. When that shit with Travis Gotti went down, when I showed them hammers on my channel, and then the DOJ came to my house, asked me about some weapons that I reported stolen like over 20 years ago, I was like, oh, hell no. So that's when I knew that they be watching these videos. So, in retrospective, I'm just saying, all these dudes that's out here that y'all look up to and y'all say, oh, this dude real with it, and ain't that real. Because that street stuff, that street code shit, that's dead. I'm talking about that's Elvis. You got dudes that's in their 50s. Yeah, they make it sound good. The way they tell the story, it's intriguing, it's interesting. But at the same time, man, let's just keep it a buck, man. They snitching. They telling. Whether it's full-fledged snitching or dry snitching, it's snitching. It's telling. So we just got to keep it. We just got to keep it 100. A lot of these dudes got put on the internet to basically tally up information or put out information about other dudes, whoever the target was. If y'all didn't read between the lines, that district attorney, the prosecuting attorney, who I guess is going to be the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor in the Big U case, he said himself, they tallied up their case by listening to people on the internet that they sent. And you just heard academics a few days ago insinuating that he worked with the police. Him, Adam 22, Vlad, a few other people. They even got some kind of name for themselves. So what does that tell you? But I warned y'all about talking to these type of dudes. I warned y'all about talking to these white motherfuckers. But, you know, that's black people for you. Black people would rather make everybody else rich except each other. Black people would rather support everybody else except black people. The funny thing is with black people love trying to hustle and get over on black people. But then they don't do this to these non-blacks or these white people. So we really do think ass backwards. And then when you call black people out on this shit, then all of a sudden they get deaf tone. Oh, they don't want to hear it. They don't understand. You do understand. If we had the same loyalty to each other that the Asians and the other ethnic group, we would be in a good place. But black people act like they don't want to be spiritually and mentally free. They act as if they like being under somebody else's thumb. We've been proved that we can function on our own. But at the end of the day, they always know that they can send somebody to infiltrate us and destroy us within. So there you have it. That's all I got to say about this shit. You know, I'm out.